I'm very pleased to be here on My Magical Thing with Archmage Lionel Snell, aka Ramsey Dukes, magician, writer, publisher, speaker. You've got the most amazing YouTube channel these days, which is a delight, and I often recommend people go and check it out. I know you, amongst other things, as a humorist, Lionel, particularly with your work in Aquarian Arrow magazine back in the 1980s, where you unleashed Dr. Galgenspiel and the over-the-top occultists on the world. And you're one of those people, I have to say, that when people ask me, what should I read about magic? I say, you must go and read the work of Ramsey Dukes, aka Lionel Snell. So it's delightful to have you on My Magical Thing. Thanks so much.
Okay, my magical thing is actually a drum. But to put it in context, I was with the expert craftsman, oh God, what's his name? Oh dear. He had a group where we went through the process of making the 4 magical implements. You know, the wand, the sword, the cup, and that. And I'm not a great craftsman, so it took me a long time to do it. It actually took 4 years to complete. Now, I'm a very fiery person, so the wand was dead easy. I knew straight away exactly what I wanted. But when it came to the disc, I was stuck. You know, what do you do with a disc? You know, is it a tray or something? So I read up about it and everything. And then I saw someone playing the boron, the Irish drum. I thought, now that's a disc. I can understand that. And I particularly liked it because it's a disc that has a relationship with a wand. In other words, not the wand I'd made, which was not at all suitable as a drumstick, but I could make a wand specially for it. And so that was what I decided to do. Now, they say I'm not a great craftsman, but I sent off for a kit for making a boron drum, which provided you with a circular hoop and a large piece of goat skin and a lot of instructions. It actually included a couple of sticks for making the crosspiece that you hold, but I didn't really like those. They were made of wood and they were straight. So I got a craftsman, a blacksmith, to make me a curly iron cross that I used instead for that. And I went through the thing of, you know, you wet the skin, you put it on glass, you stretch it out, you fix it and everything. And I made this skin. Now, Crowley says that the disc should contain your symbol of the universe. So one might put something like the tree of life on it or something like that, or, you know, the planetary symbols. But at the time, I was very keen on C.F. Russell's Holy Cube, which is a 4x4x4 cube, which gives you 64 cubes, which are 1 for each of the hexagrams. Now, I couldn't, far too complicated to put on, I couldn't face that. But the 2x2 one contains the 8 trigrams, and that's very neat. It contains them in a very neat 3-dimensional way. And if you line it up so that it's like that, the outline is a very nice hexagon, and of course 2 of the points, back and front, are on top of each other, so you only see the one. So that was the basis of this 2x2 that I put onto my drum. There's the hexagram outline, and there are the 6 there are the 6 trigrams around the edge, and the 2 which are on top of each other are the all yin and the all yang. So I put the yin yang symbol in the center to represent those 2. Now, the nice thing about this cube is that it's 3-dimensional. So there are 3 axes, this, which are cardinal fixed mutable. And in each of those 3 directions, you've got 4 edges for the 4 elements. So you've got 12 edges, which make up the 12 signs of the zodiac in a very neat way. So on my drum, I label those signs of the zodiac: Taurus, Aries, Sagittarius, and so on, around the thing. And that gave me my complete symbol of the universe. except that I was very thrilled to see that the number of triangles I had was just right for the elder Futhark. And in fact, they're grouped into three, the way they would be in the elder Futhark. And so I wrote those in. Now, incidentally, I also, when I put it together, I put 64 nails around the edge, and I labeled them for each of the hexagrams just as an extra. But what that means is that I've got a sort of symbol which contains everything in the universe in terms of the symbols on it. And that lends itself to a sort of a magical system, because I can spell out a magical intent in terms of these symbols in many different ways. I mean, if it likes to heal a person, I could spell out their name in runes and then go to, say, Virgo for healing or something like that, or some combination for healing, which means that I can, oh, I forgot to say about the wand, but I'll come back to that, which means I can tap out that sequence, bum, bum, bum. Where's Virgo? Yes, bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum. And I can keep up that rhythm very intently, making sure I don't deviate from it until it becomes sort of hypnotic, you know, and then that sends the will out. Now, the alternative is if I do it for divination, like will so-and-so heal, I could use the same pattern. The difference is that instead of concentrating hard to keep it the same, I allow my mind to wander and the rhythm to develop in the way it does when you're sort of spontaneously drumming. So as it gradually changes, it begins to speak to me with ideas. So if it was, you know, same thing, but instead of Virgo, I'm hitting Aries or something, it might mean you need to make a new start to this person rather than, you know, or something like that. You know, you begin to interpret. And then ultimately what should happen is you get, as you do when you do spontaneous drumming, you get into a sort of final groove where you could just go on forever. And then I look at the pattern of that groove for some sort of final message of what I'm supposed to be doing. Now, I forgot to mention about the wand. The thing was, they say the wand was obviously rather important for this. And I remember Gerald York telling me that when Kenneth Anger had come to him to ask him about cutting a wand, he told him to go out at dawn naked and to cut it with one blow of the sword, the stick, and then make it into a wand. And so I did that. I went to the hills above Stockbridge in Hampshire, where there's a lot of gorse. Now, I really like gorse because it's a very fiery sort of plant, you know, it seemed appropriate. And yeah, I went on the spring equinox morning naked as the dawn arose. I took my sword slash and I picked this nice piece of gorse. And the thing I really like about gorse, if you look closely, it's got this beautiful even knots along it, which gives it a lovely sort of spotty effect, which is again rather sort of fiery. I don't know why, but it feels fiery. So I'm very happy with the wand I made. The only other thing I didn't mention is I burnt around the rim a snake biting its tail and going twice round, and I wrote a lengthy invocation which I translated into runes alphabet. It's, you know, it's in English, and it was a sort of sexy invocation, you know, throbbing skin and this, that, and the other type of thing, which would take me a long time to work it out now. But anyway, so that was the other part of it. And so that was my sacred object. I collected a number of other wands along the way, just because I rather like nice pieces of wood, you know, proper Boron type of sticks, but I'm not very good at that. A bone for creepy stuff, and some other nice sort of rare wood ones. Yeah, there they are. Did I show you the bone? Yeah, there it is. Yeah, and so that's my magical object.
Lionel, that's fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing your magical thing and for giving us that insight into the practice and the meeting of all those different traditions in that symbol of the total universe that's on your magical pentacle, your drum.
Okay. Thank you.
That's really appreciated. Thanks very much, Lionel. I'll see you soon.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye.